And we are live here on Impact Money, Money in the Morning. We'll be going over the current events, J6, war in Israel and Ukraine, and it's been quite a crazy weekend. And we'll have Matt Dixon on 20 minutes after the hour. Good morning, Bruce.
Good morning, David. How are you, sir?
Doing well, doing well.
It has been a fun weekend, a crazy weekend, of course, as well as we always do here. We had our Annie show. I'm gonna share some stuff. I think we're gonna be on TV, actually doing a interview here, which will be pretty fun. Now, I'd also like to welcome our viewers in Texas and Louisiana on Smart Money Culture TV. Thanks for joining in. Another great week that we have lined up for everybody. I'll tell you what, it is heating up. It is heating up over there, all over the place. I feel like the Warhawks are they're really going for it. Of course, you have NATO coming out and they say that Ukraine is joining NATO. Now, I feel like that holds really a whole lot of weight, but it sure does get everybody riled up. And of course, you have Putin come out. Putin says, "Hey, look, we may not compare. Okay, we may not compare to NATO as far as overall military, but we have a lot more nukes than you guys, and you won't even be able to blink your eye. And we don't want that."
Yeah.
So
I remember back in the day, they bought the ingredients or the recipe,
the uranium
from they bought the uranium from the special people out of DC there, I think.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, we're in the business of that's our business. We like to make sure everybody has enough weapons to kill each other.
It's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. Yes, I agree. Yeah, that was good old Hillary Clinton.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and her good buddy there, Barack. They put that one together, made a bunch of money. I'm sure the kickbacks on that were just unbelievable. Yeah, so I think they did something like, it was a lot. It was like a third of our uranium supply or something. Like, it wasn't just one shot. I think it had to do with future uranium as well. So anyway, markets are a bit tepid today as we go in. I'll just kind of run through them a little bit. I'm coming off of course, CPAC. We did a CPAC over the end of the week. Pretty interesting setup they had there. I mean, it was like Fed Fest.
They're crawling all over the place, talking to you,
all over the place, man.
Scoping out your mind.
The whole place was stacked with feds. And then you had, like, on all sides, you could pick a side, find your Fed, who agreed with you, and go be friends with them, and they'd milk you for whatever information they could get out of you.
Funny.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, they're easy to spot out. You see them; they tried to blend, but they're too built and too sharp to be a natural.
Well, you get both types. Really. You have those that are too built and too sharp, and then you also have the ones that are more clandestine,
fishing a little too hard.
Yeah. Well, and just to be clear with everybody, there's two types. Okay, you have because they work on a couple of different systems here. One, the first system is, of course, that they just work for the different agencies, but then there's also the bounty system. And the way the bounty system works is there's a bounty for information connecting to whatever, J6 or whatever they're looking for. And then those people, they're not getting a salary or something, but they just know that bounty's there. And so they're supposed to make friends with certain people and get information. And if they get information that turns out to be actionable, then they get a bounty. So people don't know how that works, but yeah, that's and
that's some valuable information right there.
Yes, and that's how they get a lot of information, and that's why a lot of people, they'll infiltrate different organizations, people will know the person has a job, or they don't do this, or they don't do that, and that's how that works. So anyway, never said that one on camera, but that's the way that works. I feel like it's important for everybody to know. It's important for our viewers in Texas and Louisiana to know, and it's important for everybody else streaming as well to know how that works. But it was pretty interesting, and of course, you saw Milei there, the Argentinian new president, really just hugging and hugging. He was just hugging and hugging Trump. It's pretty interesting situation they have over there. He's interesting. He's an interesting guy. Very charismatic. He's very charismatic. Yeah. So anyway, let me get to this a little bit. The Asian stock markets are a bit mixed. Okay. And, I think that in general, the war itself is profitable, but, it's also rough. It's rough on the different economies and everything. Let me just refresh this, make sure I have a good load here. The HSI, which is the Hong Kong stock exchange, a little bit of a pullback here. Now, of course, China has been printing a ton of money. They printed like a ton of money. They really led this pump. They led the pump first in the Asian stock markets, and then as well they led it in crypto. So they were kind of, everyone thinks it was the ETFs, and they did help, but it was that money printing really in China that really propelled it out here. The Nikkei is up a little bit. This is Japan's. Okay. I don't know if that's a new 50-week high today. 1 year. Yeah. So they're on a 52-week high today, the Nikkei. Now, of course, Japan currency is falling flat. It's falling all over the place. They're having a rough time. Yeah. Well, they're just printing. They're just printing. Not even trying to keep it under control at all. Natural gas. Gosh, what a this one has been just really something else, bouncing all around. Let me get it good. Up and down, 5 and 10%, 4 to 8. Let's say 4 to 8% per day. You can just see these boom, boom. That's the 1 day. Let me see what the 5 day. Did I get it better? Well, okay. Anyway, off of all-time lows, bouncing around. Pretty interesting what's going on there with natural gas. Natural gas is, of course, the way. A lot of homes use natural gas. They use natural gas to cook. They use natural gas to heat their homes. The fact that it is so low suggests that the people are looking for alternatives. To me, anyway, to suggest that, because the Red Sea, the Houthis, have really shut down a lot of traffic going through the Red Sea there. So that's pretty interesting. Oil has edged down a bit, 76.23. It has been in this channel, though. It has been in this channel for quite a while here. Really not going above. This is the year to date, not going above $80. $80 is that, level in everybody's mind. Of course, it went up here back in September, but hasn't been above 80 since early November. So oil, of course, that affects everything, the price of goods and services all around. Gold is down as well. Pull that up. Gold futures down a little bit here, about 0.5%. Silver. Then I'll get to the crypto, everyone's favorite, crypto. 22.79. Silver jumps around pretty nicely for traders. Gold Boost is holding there right around 22.5 cents and a half. Bitcoin, the world's largest, the greatest. 51,120 it's trading at. It'll be interesting to get our good friend Matt Dixon to weigh in on this stuff. And if you are watching on Smart Money Culture TV, we are going to commercials right now. We will be right back on the other side of the commercials with Matt Dixon. Ethereum has been having a pretty good time here. Of course, I think that I don't know if it was fake news or not, but there was certainly something that came out and that said it was approved. And I don't know if it's imminent, whether it's approved or not yet. But you can see they're trading at 3,054. And if I scroll down here, you can see on 24 hour, it's up nearly 1%, 7-day, 4.9%, 14-day, 2 weeks, it's up 23%, 30-day, it's up 34, almost 35%, 90% on the 1 year. BNB has been really having a nice run here. Really nice run. 387. Yeah. It really is. It's overperforming. I think we're going to see $1,000 BNB pretty quickly. Before Litecoin, well before Litecoin, I always thought Litecoin was going to get to $1,000. I still think it will. I just don't know when. 24 hour, it's up 1.5%, 10% on the 7-day. Very nice chart. I'll just go on that 7-day here. Click on that. It's looking pretty nice. And then I want to talk about a little bit about SCOTUS, the Supreme Court, before we bring on Matt here. I'll let Matt chart some of this other stuff here. So the Supreme Court has basically stalled on their ruling of this January 6th cases. And I think that's kind of interesting for a couple of reasons. I mean, I've often said that the Supreme robes are not going to save us. Okay. Judges are not revolutionists. And I don't think that we should expect for judges to do anything that you're not willing to do. If you're not willing to come to Washington, D.C. and represent yourself, I don't think that you should expect that the Supreme Court is going to have more guts than you and go against the people that you're scared of. So the reason you don't want to come to Washington, D.C. and protest is because you're scared they're going to throw you in jail and ruin your life. I get it. I understand. But in the same breath, don't expect that the Supreme Court is going to risk it all and save you, because if you don't have the guts, they don't have the guts either. And if the people aren't behind them, if they don't feel like the people are behind them, then of course, and I know it's not supposed to happen that way and everything else. I get it. But that's life. That's life. That's just the way it works. So I think that's pretty interesting that they're stalling on that ruling. They just they'll probably, they could come out, with any minute, any day, some type of ruling on that. We'll see how it goes. But the fact that they're stalling, I think, is indicative of them not really wanting to be involved. And so we'll see. That was one thing at CPAC that nobody could stop talking about. Like everybody I interviewed, I don't know if you guys saw the coverage or not, but everybody there talked about it. Is the trucker strike happening? I don't know. So it's a pretty interesting question, because I've been wondering the same thing. Is the trucker strike happening? Are the truckers going to be like the farmers and really making it happen? I'm not sure. Of course, you saw the New York governor, whether she said exactly that or not. It seems that it was implied that they would be charged with hate crimes. And of course, everybody's scared because Trump just got fined all that money and his ban in New York and everything else. So they certainly should. It is a mess. I put out a report yesterday. Maybe we'll talk about it, and then end of the hour. I think we're coming right back in on here on Smart Money Culture TV. But these they're housing these people up in Massachusetts. They get 3 meals a day catered. It's not just like, here's $30, we'll get 3 meals a day. It's like catered food. They get hotels. They have everything else. It's like the biggest hack in the world. Yeah, I saw that too. I didn't see it was community noted, but I saw Elon ask that to be community noted. So for stuff like that, though, I always feel like it's not always 100%, but there's usually some truth to it. You know how that works? So maybe she didn't say exactly that, but that was the stance kind of her office or her people. But yeah, full disclosure on that. And that's what I said. I didn't know that she actually said it. But we'll see. I have not seen that. That would be pretty interesting. That would be really, really interesting for that to happen. Thanks for joining us on Smart Money Culture TV. We're going to bring on the great Matt Dixon. Sir Matt the Great.
Hey, good morning. Morning, Bruce. Morning, David. Morning, everybody.
How are you?
Great, thank you. Good to be here.
Amazing.
So, yeah, you mentioned about the Nikkei reaching all-time highs again.
Yes.
A little bit different to the US and the rest of them because the US keeps reaching all-time highs. It's happened over and over and over for a long time. Do you know the Nikkei? It's actually 34 years ago that it was at this level. So it's taken a full 34 years to reach a new all-time high. So someone who invested 34 years ago, they've had to wait 34 years to get to, for their investment to actually go up.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
It's been one of the big laggards. So Japan really suffered a long time from deflation, from stagflation, really. And that's why they were the first one to get into money printing in, I think it's 2001, might be 1991 even. It was a long time back, long before America and the rest of the world got involved with that.
Okay.
So that's the situation with Japan. So yeah, it's interesting. They're all-time highs. They've been suppressing, not doing anything with their interest rates. They've been manipulating the yield curve to try to manage what's going on with their economy. So taking a slightly different approach, as I've said before. But let's take a look at where we are with the markets.
Awesome.
But while I saw what's going on with the Middle East at the moment and Ukraine, you said there's a lot happening there right now, yeah?
Hold. Yeah, there is. We have, of course, NATO and these guys. I just saw a saber rattling. They want to push this money through Congress so bad.
Yeah, it feels a bit dangerous. I mean, they're really poking like a wild bear. I mean, the Russian bear, they're poking him with a stick. And, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense because, when you poke a wild animal like that, eventually they will respond. And who knows where it's all going, but the markets don't seem to care. I mean, just look. I mean, I trust you can see my screen, yeah?
Let me add it to the stage here. There we go. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, the markets really don't care what's going on in the world right now. They just know that, the monetary policy is looking relatively easy at the moment. Inflation is still sky high compared to what it should be, but it has been dropping a bit. Although the last read we had, it rose again. So I don't think the markets are pricing in all of the risk at the moment. So if we look at the S&P 500, we can see it's actually really interesting. There's a level here where there's actually 3 Fibonacci targets that there's confluence, or they all agree with this level here. So I've just shown a couple of them here. I measured this A wave from much lower down, transposed it to the bottom of this wave here, and it gave me here is actually 0.618. We can read that there. That's the golden ratio level here. And that is actually the exact peak of what S&P reached the other day. If I just look at what the exact number was, 5111.4, so 5,111.4. That was the exact peak. Actually, we peaked slightly above that, but it's virtually on the 0.618, which is the golden ratio. But that golden ratio, 0.618, also coincided with a measurement here of basically the W wave transposed to the X, and 100% of it gave us, again, it coincided with the exact 0.618 here. So there's 2 levels there. We also got bearish divergence here with higher highs on price and lower highs on RSI. So there's a couple of signals. And then if you actually looked, probably best look on a different time frame. Even on this time frame, we can actually see what's called an evening star candle formation, where you basically got a green candle. You've got a kind of doji candlestick there where it tried higher and failed, tried lower and failed, and stayed in the middle. And then following it, you got a red candle. That's called an evening star. And that's yet another sign that the market is potentially topping. And of course, we do have overbought RSI. So I checked, and there's at least 4 different signals, technical signals, It still doesn't mean this is a top, but I'm just saying there's a lot of signs there saying we're at or very, very close to a top in the market, the S&P 500. The only thing against it is we're still in an uptrend. And when you're in an uptrend or in any trend, it takes a very brave person to bet against that trend. So potentially we could break through and push higher again, but I'm just saying there's warning signals there. So from a trading perspective, I don't like taking risks. So that's interesting. We've seen Bitcoin. Again, I had this similar chart to what I had drawn the other day. I think that potentially we might push a little bit higher, and even potentially out of this, we could even push as high as that 55 level. But I think we're, again, nearing the top on Bitcoin. We're in this kind of consolidation. It's a kind of expanding triangle type formation. You can see the 2 touches at the top, 3 touches now at the bottom line, the support here. So hard to say right now, but it looks as though it's a consolidation kind of sideways, and most likely we would probably get a break to the upside. But again, we're near, I think, near a local top in Bitcoin. Even if we turn, doesn't mean it's a major turn. It could just be a pullback and a bit of a correction. So we could potentially see. But if we move on to Solana, that we looked at many times, Solana is telling us again, and look at it, it's fallen a lot from where it was. It was at 100 and what was it here, 118 point something just recently, and it's fallen. It fell a couple of days ago to 98. Right now it's trading at 101. But looking slightly longer term, we look as though we've got a correction down, as I said, a 3-wave correction down and a 3-wave correction higher. So potentially we are going to correct lower. So that would be interesting. I think we've got lower to go, but being a correction tells us we should then go to new highs above this previous high here. So Solana is looking bright, but short term we've got some potential corrections. Ethereum has been one of the real outstanding performers, hasn't it? And we looked
really
at the channel from it, but we were in a long-term channel to the upside. But actually, I think I'll just look on the daily on this to show you what I think I see on Ethereum, because we did move. We had this massive ABC movement to the downside, which was the tremendous movement to the low on Ethereum back in 2022. But since that low, we've moved up. And I really find it hard to count this as an impulsive move to the upside. Impulsive moves are basically 5-wave moves to the upside. I find it difficult because we've had this big move, and I'm just trying to compress it a little bit so you can see the sort of size of the move we had from the upside, and that this move that people want to see as a major push to the upside is potentially just looking like a correction to the upside. So we've got an A, a B, and a C to the downside, but I think that this is corrective to the upside. So we've got basically a W, an X, and a Y. It's like a larger ABC kind of thing to the upside. And, again, I'm looking at Fibonacci extensions, and I see a potential, maybe a little push higher to 3,200 or something on Ethereum, but I can't count this really as 5 waves to the upside because it's overlapping. So this wave here overlaps here. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this wave shouldn't overlap, according to Elliott wave rules, should not overlap wave 1 unless we have a leading diagonal. But even if we have a leading diagonal, that's the one time where you can see some overlap. We've still got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you still expect some decent pullback. So even if you're, even if you think it's a leading diagonal, which means that we are pushing massively to new all-time highs coming in the near future on Ethereum, short term, we still expect a pullback in the near future. As I say, local top, maybe 3,200, maybe we've already achieved it, because we do actually have again some bearish divergence here. You see the blue line here with higher highs on price, lower highs on RSI. So we've got bearish divergence, we've got a Fibonacci thing there, and again, we'll be able to see at the end of the day whether we have a bearish candlestick to again confirm that. At the moment, it's showing potentially, but we need to see how this candle finishes by the end of the day to get any candle interpretation from it. But I'm just saying, this looks like it's a correction to the upside. So I do think that, yeah, we may have some more upside to go, but I think there's some potential downside to come. But even on the bullish side, it's still a correction to come. So whichever way I look at it, I think there's a correction coming. We'll skip over XRP today. We can look at BNB, again, you're right. It's been one of the big performers. I'm not quite sure what's been pushing BNB lately, why it's been doing so well. But again,
I know, right? It's like there's something there. I don't know what it is either, but somebody's pushing that price.
Yeah. And here
Probably
we
the
do
great CZ
potentially,
himself.
yeah, here potentially we do have, I mean, actually, you probably need to move that C up there somewhere, but each one of these, we do potentially have a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, although there's no extended wave, because an extended wave would need to be at least 1.618 times the shortest wave. And I don't think I see that at all. I mean, we just measure the shortest wave here, which is the first wave, potentially this one. Again, it could potentially be an ending diagonal. Oh, actually, we do see exactly. That's amazing. Exactly 1.618 for wave 3. So wave 3 is precisely 1.618. So it could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If that's the case, then we'd look for 5-wave completion of this, and then we would look for at least a pullback. But if it is 5 waves, bear in mind the C wave is always made up of 5 waves. So again, if we scroll back a little bit, we've potentially got, I'd have to shrink that a little bit. Potentially, we've got an A wave up, a B wave down, a C wave higher. So we're near to that previous top of that A wave. We can even exceed it. So BNB can go higher, but potentially, again, this is 3 waves higher. It's not impulsive. And we've got kind of 3 waves down here and 3 waves and 3 waves all overlapping. So overall, it's a big A wave, a big B wave, and a C wave, which actually we've just found out, and it's amazing how you can find stuff out. It's good that we found it out even on this show. Wave 1 here, transpose it to wave 2. Wave 3 is precisely 1.618, and that is the minimum you'd expect. That is the golden ratio. And again, I didn't even have this prepared, and just look at it precisely to the penny, 1.618. And then we've got this corrective move to the downside, very typical of wave 4. It's also, as we said the other day, it's an alternate kind of waveform so the rule of alternation to wave 2. So if this is wave 1, we've got a relatively simple wave 2, but the wave 4 is complex here, lots of choppiness, and that's very typical. So I said we've got a rule of alternation. It's a different waveform. It covers a much longer period. It actually covers a bigger price range. So very typical wave 4, and then potentially we've got a 1, 2. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for wave 3, 4, and we're working on a 5th wave to the upside. So maybe a bit more upside. But I think we're looking for a shorter term potential turn down in the markets. And I think that is actually the theme. So I'm being cautious right now. And I think that's actually been borne out in prices today. We're seeing, AGIX, which is the one, that AI token, showing 30% gain the other day. It's down 6% today. So we're seeing a bit of a turn in the markets. There's a lot of negative out there. There's one that came out over the weekend. I was saying VET was leading the way. And just look at it now. So this was a tweet I put out over the weekend, before today, and it's absolutely coming out and validating what I'm saying. It's it's showing 8.8% gain today. So it's the big winner today. So good to be able to pick those ones out. And I wanted to go in today, but I don't think we've got time, so we'll do it another day. I wanted to go into a little bit of the fundamentals of what drives eVay and how we're making predictions with eVay. So maybe tomorrow, if you've got time, I'll just go into a little bit of the fundamentals about how it works, because it's amazing. It actually uses cutting-edge technology, but also accepted academic theory, and it's pulling it all together to come up with some amazing predictions in this market. But that's where we're at for today. But
yeah, and I would love to do that. We do have Gordon Einstein is supposed to join us again tomorrow. Nice. So just keep that in mind.
No rush. We'll keep it for another day. We'll keep it for another day. And I don't want to go too technical about things. I'll keep it, because obviously I've done a master's degree in this stuff and I'm a very technical person. I have a big, one of my downfalls is I tend to get a bit too technical. So
we love it. I mean, it's good to make sense of what's going on. I think it's really important for everybody to look at this. When there's so much upside available, or people see it, of course your emotions start to get involved, and so it's good to have the breakdown of it. We're using the Elliott wave. We have you charting this forward with all your experience. I think it's extremely valuable, and you can make money either way the market goes. when you're trading properly.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I even during the bear market, I actually made I made more money during the bear market than during the bull so far. But the bull is actually, if we are in a bull market, and I think even if we are, you've got to have a wave 1 up and a wave 2 down. We may be going to get a wave 2 down soon, but and the wave 3 is the real bull market where things really explode to the upside. So I say not yet made as much money, but we're only just beginning potentially this bull market. So there's plenty of time yet to make money. But as I say, as you say, you can definitely make money on both sides of the market. Not a problem.
Indeed.
Yeah. So I just put in the 5 waves there: the wave 1, the wave 2, wave 3. See, wave 3 is normally the extended wave, and it's 1.618 precisely times the wave 1. So it fits all together very, very nicely. Yeah. So, and we can also see whether wave 4 is a particular projection. I mean, you can even get, wave 5 could potentially be equal to wave 3, and that would mean we've still got a bit higher to go on BNB, 404. And even if we get a pullback after that, it could be a deep pullback, but then potentially we're then looking to push to real new highs on a lot of tokens. So don't be afraid of a pullback, but just be aware with your risk reward that you can protect your profits. It's not just about making profits, it's about protecting your profits. So that's what we focus on.
Agreed.
Good.
You can also, guys, go to learnhowtotrade.club and sign up for the course, learnhowtotrade.club. You can use discount code TRADESMART10 at learnhowtotrade.club and trade with Matt Dixon and learn from the other modules that he has set up there.
Yeah, I mean, it includes psychology and all sorts. And here's just one touching on eBay. I'm not using eBay for any particular reason, but it does demonstrate some amazing Fibonacci stuff. For example, we measured wave 1 down here, transposed to wave 2, wave 3, once again, 1.618. So isn't it amazing? If you could actually measure a wave 1, transpose it to wave 2, before this wave 3 happens, you could have a target in your mind where it's going to reach to. And it reached precisely that level. So this is the kind of thing you can do when you're able to look. I mean, we wouldn't just look at this. We'd look at the internal wave count to determine whether this wave 1 is complete. So when you're able to actually construct wave counts properly using other tools as well, you don't just use an arbitrary wave count, using other tools to determine your wave count properly, then you can get in at the top of a wave 2 with a good risk reward, like not going beyond the top of wave 1 here, and potential big reward here. So that worked perfectly. Then we had a nice ending diagonal. Again, ending diagonals tend to work within trend lines, precisely what happened. Then we had bullish divergence, which again, the price moved up on this bullish divergence precisely. Then we had bearish divergence. The price moved down precisely on the bearish divergence. Then we had short-term bullish divergence. The price moved up a bit. So it's just interesting, again, using these different signals, trading becomes that much more of something that you can see rather than just throwing darts into a dartboard and guessing. So, yeah.
Yes. Awesome.
Good. And
good stuff, Matt.
Yeah, thank you again for having me. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, it'd be great listening to not Albert Einstein, is it, tomorrow?
Gordon will join us again tomorrow. And then have some other people that I'm lining up as well for this week. So a lot of people are starting to watch the show on the regular, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, good.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I've seen the engagement as well, and it's fantastic. So again, thank you for allowing me to be part of this. It's a pleasure to share what I have on the charts. So again, thank you, and look forward to catching up.
Matt. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers. Have a great day.
Awesome.
And you too. Bye to everybody. Thank you.
So I'll tell you what,
Nice.
it's pretty interesting, to have the that look right at the market, what's going on, what's happening, and go from there. So this came in from one of our viewers here, and I don't know, half the time I can never find where exactly the comments. I would love to respond to this one. So financier Lord Jacob Rothschild dies at 87. He was a major figure within the banking dynasty under his family name Rothschild. So I'd have to research that a little bit before I confirmed it. But the Rothschilds, they are the ones who are really behind this central banking cartel around the world. And that's exactly what it is. They've basically taken over all the countries with this central bank system. I was actually explaining to my cast members the other day, of course, I'm doing the Annie play. I was explaining to them why the inflation was so high. And, it's like we're at a point in the history of the country where people are starting to okay, 5 years ago, I would tell everyone and they didn't get it. And then now you start to tell them and they look, they still think I'm crazy. They definitely still think I'm crazy. But, I was right about Bitcoin. I was right about this, right about that. And I'd explain to you one more time. And I know I talk about it multiple times. Let me just see if we're back from commercial or if we're on commercial. I think we're on commercial break. Yeah, we're on commercial break. Smart money culture. So, but anyway, for our live viewers. So in 2023, the Federal Reserve minted $6 trillion that was used for the government. So the U.S. Treasury Department says that they spent $6 trillion. Now, they plan to collect from your income taxes and these are round numbers, okay? It's 6.1 and it's 1.6, but let's just call it 1.5. It makes everything easier, okay? So they plan to collect $1.5 trillion from the income taxes. And the reason why your inflation is so high is because they are taxing you for the other $4.5 trillion. So if you have $1.5 trillion that they're bringing in income tax, you have a big shortfall, right? $6 trillion that they spent, that the Federal Reserve printed up for them, and then you have $1 trillion that you're bringing in, right? So 1x is 3 trillion, 2x is 4.5 trillion, 3x is 6 trillion. So your actual tax rate is 3 times what you're paying. And you're paying that rest of that tax in the form of inflation. And that's how they're taxing you. And I sat there with a bunch of smart guys. I mean, these guys are smart. They're lawyers. They're everything else. And everyone just kind of looks at me like, is he right? And then you say, well, but this must have been going on forever, though. It must have been going on forever. So that makes it okay, I guess. Well, no, it hasn't. The Federal Reserve Act was started in 1913. And it was started right after they loaded a bunch of people that opposed having a central bank in the United States, which, of course, our founding fathers were extremely opposed to. But they opposed having a central bank in the United States, and they loaded those very wealthy people up on the Titanic. And we all know what happened. So, and then they look at me like, oh, so that's a conspiracy theory too. And I'm like, yeah, it is, but isn't it interesting that they got rid or all the major opposition to the central bank passed away on the Titanic? So, I mean, I don't know. Was it luck for them? I'm not sure. And then they passed the Federal Reserve Act in the middle of the night on a Friday. And then we had a central bank. And since that time, when they started with the central bank, and they were already, the gold standard was from 1900 until 1933. It wasn't even, Abraham Lincoln actually started fiat currency. They don't tell you that. But in 1900, they tried to legislate the gold standard, and that lasted until 1933. But they were already printing up 10 to 1. They were already printing 10 to 1 dollars. So they'd already, kind of jerry rigged it with the central bank. But anyway, since 1913, since the Federal Reserve started, which was the same year that they started the IRS, and the next year we went into World War I. Okay, but since that time, they have taxed the absolute heck out of you. They've taxed you and your family so much that the dollar is worth like nothing that it used to be. $1, I mean, a house that you would live in with your family was like $15,000. It's now like $1 million. And the reason that is because they've been taxing the absolute mess out of you. Rothschild and his banking cartel. I don't want to dance on the grave of anybody, so maybe I'll give him a break today. I don't think he deserves it, but I don't like to be the guy dancing on the grave. But it's the biggest scam going. Okay, the central banking cartels are the biggest scam going, and that if people talk about why is how they'd say how is, and I'm going to put this one out here. How is Biden able to give away, to forgive the money? Hold on, let me just put this in here. 46. How is Biden able to forgive, to get the money to forgive the student debt? Forgive the 136 million. No, it's billion, right? $136 billion in student loan debt. Listen in. Here's how. Listen in to find out. Here's the scam. Okay? He doesn't need anybody to approve it. All he needs is the central bank to pay back the loan. And all they're doing is paying them. Okay. So then they tax you via inflation. So that $136 billion that crooked, I shouldn't say that on TV, that Joe Biden is doing, even though the Supreme Court told him that he can't do it. He said, absolutely not. You can't do it. The Supreme Court told him no. But he doesn't need the Supreme Court. He doesn't need Congress. All he needs is the central bank to mint him the money. And they don't even have to print up the bills. They can just do it on their computer. And then they tax you from inflation. So that $136 billion that they're forgiving in student loans will cost every household in America over $1,000. It'll be about $1,100 or $1,200 for every household in the U.S. And that's the scam. That's how he's doing it. He doesn't need Congress. He doesn't need the Supreme Court. He only needs the central bank. And the central bank can do whatever they want because they're printing the money. They've totally bypassed Congress. They've totally bypassed the Supreme Court. We're ruled by the central bank. The central bank is who is controlling the country. And the central banking cartel is controlling most of the countries around the world.
That theme 100 theft.
I lost your audio there. Try it one more time.
Oh, that scheme sounds like a theft.
For some reason, your audio is pretty rough, but that scheme sounds like theft. I got.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it is theft. It's 100% theft. There's no way to get around it. And he knows, Biden knows, and his admin knows, and everybody knows, guys. Here, that's the other part about it, right? Everybody in the know knows. Okay, you don't know. Now I'm telling you, so now you know. It's like everybody yesterday. They're going to sit down, though, and they're going to think about it and be like, well, that guy was right. But then they're going to most of them are going to forget about it because it's too hard to think about. It's too hard to think about the fact that your actual tax rate is 3 times higher than what you're paying. Because if they actually taxed you, if you actually had to pay on April 15th 3 times your actual tax rate, then we would have a revolution. Then we would have another Boston Tea Party. So it's easier to just act like it's not happening. But it is. It is happening. And it can't, it won't go on forever. It's not going to go on forever. But yeah, that's the scam. So every household, if he is able to do it, and I think he's going to do it, because here's the thing. It's just like the funding for the wars. They want Congress to pass this new $95 billion bill, okay? But they don't need Congress to pass it. We're already at war. He can take us to war without Congress, because Congress doesn't have to appropriate the money. The central bank gives them the money. Now, he needs Congress in a sense to approve the funding, because that gives cover for the central bank's total and absolute control. But anyway, so that's how the scam works. It's totally out of control, David.
It has been out of control, and yeah, the prices of everything, and sometimes people's employment doesn't go up with the inflation, and then you find yourself in hot water, and you can't get your bills paid. And this happened a lot over the last few years.
It never goes up at the rate of actual inflation. So they put out their CPI numbers, right? And they say, oh yeah, the inflation is not bad. The inflation is down or whatever else. But everybody knows 3% inflation is a joke. Inflation is up. Inflation is through the roof. On food, on car insurance, on really everything that you use, inflation is through the roof. And why is inflation through the roof? Because you're getting taxed to kingdom come. That 113 billion or whatever it was that they passed in January for Israel and Ukraine, that cost you $1,000. Every household in the United States. And guys, it's very easy math. Very easy math. You can do it yourself. Take the 113 billion and you divide that by the 113 million households in the US. This is not hard math here. Gives you $1,000. Every household in the US, it cost them $1,000 in order to send it over there. And that's where you get into the whole, like, the government's budget is always balanced. We're not like borrowing money from some mythical entity. Oh, we borrowed it from China. Trust me, China's not borrowing us money. Okay. The Federal Reserve fronts the money and then they tax you for it from inflation. That's the scam. That's how it works. And David and I are going to keep coming on the show every day until people figure it out. And we start doing something about it, because it is out of control. It's completely unsustainable. It is completely and absolutely unsustainable. And that's the scam. The central bank fronts the money. The politicians have no, they don't really have to answer to anybody except them. And that's a big problem. Because, of course, then they also have, we'll see what happens in the election. But, of course, we have now this whole mail-in ballot system. Whatever you want to say about it, okay, whether you like it or don't like it, sure brings a lot of ballots in. And it's hard to really, who knows. And then you have the magic electronic machines as well. So, yeah, the system is pretty crazy. But
that's part of why we became such big proponents of Bitcoin and your precious metals.
That's absolutely correct. And make sure, guys, we're doing. You want gold? You need gold. You need silver. You need precious metals. You need crypto. You need some cash, and you need land. Those are the things that you need. And you can't be all in gold. I mean, try to travel with $250,000 of gold. You can't even freaking hardly carry it. Okay,
they're gonna seize it.
Then they're gonna seize it. You try to travel anywhere with it, they're gonna seize it. Either it's gonna be seized by crooks or it's gonna be seized by crooks. They're all crooks anyway. It'll either be governmental crooks or it'll be other kind of crooks. And but you do need it, because you may be in a situation where there's no electricity and there's no internet, right? So at that point you need it. You need crypto though, because if you need to go somewhere, if something needs to happen, then you need to be able to travel and not carry anything with you, but have a lot of value stored either in your seed phrase in your head or possibly on some type of wallet or something like that. that you have it password protected. And then you need cash, because cash is cash. And it will go to zero. Out of all of them, cash, I can guarantee, will go to zero. I don't know when it will go to zero, but one day they're going to pull up that paper money and they're going to say, I wonder why these people use this stuff. I mean, think about it. Paper money. When did we need to do, we're going to do like a chronological thing of when paper money started.
Yeah.
Like they used gold and silver coins and stuff like this for forever. Paper money will definitely go to zero. Paper money is going to zero. We're not financial advisors, but I don't even feel like I have to say that for that one. Paper money will go to zero.
Yes, it's true.
It's true. Good times. Guys, we're going to be back on at 5 or at 11 a.m. There on your TVs in Texas on Smart Money Culture TV, as well as streaming live. I want to thank, of course, our partners over there at Crypto Cake for carrying the show for us. And, of course, on my X account and LinkedIn and all that stuff. But pretty interesting times. We're going to be following stuff. It looks like, there's a lot of money being poured into the market here. But markets are markets are emotional. And then as well, the charts don't lie. So we'll see how everything plays out. And then the other thing is the big boys, they kind of always make their money. So if the big boys have, you just want to be careful. If the big boys have pumped it up really high, then a lot of times they'll take that profit from everybody, and then they'll pump it up high again. So you want to just make sure you're protected. You got enough money in the market to protect your positions, or you're gonna go back and forth, or however it is. But anyway, lots of fun. Love you guys. We'll be working away here. Make sure to go to AtCostMetals.Club. Sign up there at AtCostMetals.Club. Get gold or silver at cost, and trade with us with the trade. Learn how to trade.club. Signing off, David. Thank you, sir.
That's right. Stay lucrative. See you soon.
See you in a few hours.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.